You smiled today. Maybe even laughed. And nobody knew that somewhere behind that, something in you was quietly falling apart. You are not pretending to be happy. It's more complicated than that. Because in a strange way, both things are real. The smile and the pain underneath it. So the question isn't, why do you hide it? The real question is, what exactly is your mind trying to protect? There's a specific kind of exhaustion that nobody ever talks about. It's not the exhaustion of doing too much. It's the exhaustion of feeling too much, while making sure nobody notices. You move through rooms full of people. You nod, you respond, you laugh at the right moments. But inside, there's a conversation happening that you're not sharing with anyone. And later, maybe in your car, or in the shower, or in that quiet window just before sleep, it comes. The thing you held back all day. You might not even be able to name it fully. It's not always a single feeling. It's more like a pressure. Like something that needed space and had nowhere to go. Here's what makes this harder to understand. You're not doing this because you're weak. And you're not doing this because you don't trust people. You're doing it because somewhere, very early, your nervous system learned a very specific lesson. Showing pain is costly. Containing it is safer. This pattern has a name in psychology. It's called emotional masking. And it lives at the intersection of attachment theory and learned emotional regulation. The people who do this most consistently are often the ones who grew up in environments where their emotional needs were either dismissed, ridiculed, or simply went unanswered. Not always from cruelty. Sometimes from parents who were overwhelmed. Sometimes from classrooms that didn't have room for it. Sometimes from a moment, repeated enough times, that taught you, this part of me is better kept hidden. And that lesson got stored. Not as a memory you can point to, but as a reflex. Before we go any deeper, I want you to hear something clearly. This is not a flaw. What you learn to do is actually a form of intelligence. Emotional masking, when it develops young, is an adaptation, a strategy your mind built to help you stay connected to people, while also protecting yourself from rejection. Psychologists call this the social smile response, a learned behavior where positive affect is performed as a tool for social safety, not genuine expression. Your brain, trying to keep you safe, learn to separate what you feel from what you show. That takes a tremendous amount of cognitive energy. And it worked, in many ways. You stayed likable. You stayed functional. You held things together. The problem is, it was always meant to be temporary. And somewhere along the way, it became the default. Here's the mental model that might make this click. Think of your emotional world as a house with two rooms. The front room is what you show the world. It's well lit, presentable, socially acceptable. The back room is where the real stuff lives. The grief, the loneliness, the doubt, the parts of you that didn't make it into the conversation. Most people have these two rooms. But for you, the door between them stays mostly locked when others are around. Here's what's happening in the brain. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for social behavior and self-regulation, is constantly working to suppress what the amygdala is generating. The amygdala doesn't think. It feels. It reacts. It remembers old wounds. When you sense social threat, judgment, rejection, being too much, the prefrontal cortex steps in and does something remarkable. It down-regulates the emotional signal, dials it down, translates it into something manageable. This is called cognitive reappraisal, and research by psychologist James Gross at Stanford shows it's one of the most energy-consuming emotional processes the brain performs, which explains the exhaustion. Every time you smile through something that hurts, your brain is running a complex background process. It's not weakness. It's your mind doing heavy, invisible labor. But there's a cost. Suppressed emotion doesn't disappear. It accumulates. And what accumulates eventually needs somewhere to go. That's why you cry alone. The back room fills up. And when the front door finally closes for the day, it opens. So what do you actually do with this? Not how do you stop feeling this way, but how do you start releasing the pressure in a way that doesn't require you to perform more? Here are 5 principles. Each one is rooted in how your brain actually works. Principle number 1. Name it before you contain it. When you feel something building, before you put the social mask on, take 3 seconds. Name the emotion, privately, internally. I'm feeling something heavy right now. This is grief. This is loneliness. Research in affect labeling, pioneered by Matthew Lieberman at UCLA, shows that simply naming an emotion reduces amygdala activation by up to 25%. You're not suppressing it. You're acknowledging it before you set it down. That small act changes the relationship between you and the feeling. Principle number 2. Build one honest outlet, and use it consistently. Not to perform your pain, but to give the back room somewhere to breathe. This could be a journal, a voice memo, a single trusted person, even a note app on your phone. The key word is consistent. Research on emotional disclosure by James Pennybaker shows that regular, private expression of suppressed emotion measurably reduces stress hormones and improves immune function. You don't have to share it with the world. You just have to stop hiding it from yourself. Principle number 3. Separate performing from connecting. There's a difference between performing wellness for a crowd and genuinely connecting with one person. Start small. Find one person, just one, with whom you allow a slightly more honest version of yourself. Not a dramatic reveal. Just a little less performance. This is called selective vulnerability in relational psychology. And it is how trust gets built without risking full exposure. Principle number 4. Interrupt the masking reflex, don't eliminate it. You will not stop doing this overnight. And you shouldn't try to. Instead, notice when it's happening. I just changed the subject when it was getting real. I just said, I'm fine, and I'm not. That awareness, without judgment, is the first disruption of an automatic pattern. In behavioral psychology, this is called metacognitive interruption. Seeing the pattern while it's happening slowly weakens the automaticity of the response. Principle number 5. Let the back room exist without shame. The goal is not to merge the two rooms. Not every feeling needs a public audience. The goal is to stop being afraid of your own back room. To walk in there sometimes. To sit with what's in it. To recognize that it doesn't make you broken. It makes you someone who feels deeply. In a world that rarely has space for that. Here's the one idea I want you to carry with you. The mask was never the problem. The belief that you had to wear it alone was. You built a system to survive. And it worked. But surviving and living are different things. Living means letting at least some people past the front room. Not everyone. Not all at once. Just enough that the back room doesn't have to hold everything by itself. If you made it here, you already understand something. Most people spend decades avoiding that the distance between how you feel and how you appear is not proof of dishonesty. It's proof of how hard you've been working. You don't have to stop being the person who holds it together for others. You just have to stop pretending. That person doesn't need anything in return. Somewhere, quietly, you deserve the same gentleness you give to everyone else. You always did.